Hey guys, what's up? Hope everybody's having a good day out there today. Welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Today, going to give you guys a seminar. Got some really good tips on basically how to rig your soft plastic baits with a straight shank hook to land a lot more fish. And guys, I'm going to be talking about creature baits and plastic worms. And I'm telling you guys right now, 95% of the people out there rig their soft plastics wrong, and it's costing you fish once you hook the fish as far as losing them like that. And I'm going to show you some things you can do to definitely increase your landing ratio on the bites that you do get. Real quick, just so before we get started here, just wanted to give you guys a weekly reminder. If you guys haven't had a chance to go over and check out fishthemoment.com, we got a bunch of new spring lake mat breakdowns there. You can check that out on fishthemoment.com. Also, if you need any of these baits I'm talking about, I'll include the Baitworks link in the description. It's a great way to help the channel. And finally, tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Johnny and I have our weekly live podcast on Fish the Moment Live YouTube channel. We're going to be talking about Grand Lake and the upcoming Red Crest MLF tournament there. Okay, guys, let's talk about the two baits here we're talking about. We're talking about two different profiles, the creature style bait and just a regular plastic worm. Both of these things are rigged differently, and I'm talking specifically today about a straight shank hook. I use straight shanks and EWGs both, but probably 90% of the time, guys, I've pretty much went to a straight shank hook on about anything. After many years of experimentation with both EWGs and straight shanks, I'm convinced that straight shank hooks will hook a larger percentage of fish, especially if you're pitching and flipping. So I prefer a straight shank hook. This is the Gamakatsu G Finesse worm hook here. Okay, let's talk about the common mistake. We've touched on this a little bit in the past, but I want to go into a little bit more detail. We'll start out with rigging the plastic worm. Most people come through just like this. They'll come through the head of the worm and bury the hook back in the middle of the worm like that. Pretty much a standard way to do it there. You know, just right back in the middle of the worm. Guys, this is the worst way that you can rig a Texas rig worm right here. You'll get bites on it. I mean, you definitely get a lot of bites, but if you stick the point of that hook back in a worm here, depending upon the hardness of the plastic or the thickness of the plastic, it basically becomes weedless to the point where you can't hardly hook the fish. You've got a tremendous amount of plastic. When that fish hits and you set the hook, you're basically pulling that hook through the plastic in a straight line, and you might get a little bit of that hook in there a little bit. And I'm not saying you're going to hook some fish and land them, but you're going to lose a lot more fish than you would if you rig it the right way. The right way to rig this thing, guys, is come in the same way on the head of the hook, and you want to just skin hook it in the side. And we're talking, I'm just getting a little bit of the membrane in there. See how I got that in there? It's just barely in there. It's sticking in there. I've got the point of it is barely in the worm there. But what happens is that's hooked. That's just in the skin like that. The bait is perfectly straight. Still, it's completely weedless. You're not going to get hung up coming through grass or weeds or anything. But what happens is when the fish bites that, it basically just pulls off of here like that, and you've got the hook in there. There's no penetration required in the mass or the bulk of the plastic. So on all of my plastic worms, I don't care what they are, if I'm using a plastic worm that's got a cylindrical body or even one that's got like a flat side on it, I'm always hooking that bait in the side. Now a creature bait is a little bit different here, because you can't, in my opinion, you can't really do it on, if you do this on a creature bait, this is what happens is on a straight shank hook. If you try to hook it in the side like that, again, yeah, you can, it works okay, but what happens is when you hook it like this in the side on a creature bait, the design of the bait makes this bait fall funky in the water. It sort of falls at a weird angle. I don't like the way that falls. I think it costs you bites. So what you want to do is come through, and then you come through all the way out the other side like that. Now, if I'm not fishing around real thick cover, say if I'm pitching around docks or I'm pitching around some sparse type cover or the edge of stumps, I leave it completely, the point completely exposed. It's pretty weedless like that. You'd be surprised that you can work this thing pretty weedless, even with that hook point exposed. When that fish hits it, it just pops right through there like that, and you'll get them every time. Now, if it's a little bit thicker, all you have to do is come in there and just barely hook it, just the skin of, just the very point of it in the skin there, and that makes it weedless where you can get it through bushes and flooded cover and thick laydowns and stuff, but still it's already through there, and when they bite, it comes off like that. So anyway, guys, that one of the mistakes people make, that they do the same thing on a creature bait that I just talked to you about the worm, is instead of running it all the way through and exposing the hook out the back end, they just bury it in the middle like that, and it's not coming through the back. So again, you have all that plastic to have to penetrate. It's going to cost you fish. I mean, you're going to land some fish on the bites you get, but you're going to increase your catch ratio tremendously if you just try rigging them like I talked about here. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the tip. Much appreciated. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and we'll talk later. See you.